Period pain is not a modern problem. Women have been experiencing it for as long as women have existed. But for most of human history, they did not simply suffer through it and wait for it to pass. They had medicine. Real, effective, carefully built medicine. Not from a pharmacy, not from a laboratory, from the earth, from plants, from thousands of years of women watching, learning, and passing knowledge to each other across generations. And here is what nobody tells you. Modern science has gone back and tested those plants, one by one, study by study, and it keeps finding the same thing. The women were right. Intro. When your period arrives and the pain starts, what is actually happening inside your body is this. Your uterus is contracting, hard. The lining is being shed, and in the process, it releases substances that make those contractions stronger and tighter. The blood vessels inside the uterine wall get squeezed. Blood flow is cut off, and that cutoff is what creates the pain. The same kind of deep cramping ache that comes when any muscle is working hard without enough oxygen reaching it. The painkiller most women reach for today works by blocking those substances that cause the contractions. It was developed in 1961. You probably know it as Nurofen or Advil or simply ibuprofen. Different names, same pill. 60 years old. Ancient women did not have ibuprofen, but they found plants that targeted the exact same process. Through observation, through trial and error, through thousands of years of women telling each other, this one works. Through knowledge passed from mother to daughter, healer to healer, generation to generation across every continent on Earth. Here are 7 of those plants, where they came from, how women used them, and what science found when it finally looked. Plant 1. Fenugreek. Ancient Egypt, 1550 BCE. The Ebers Papyrus, one of the oldest medical documents ever found, lists fenugreek specifically for uterine pain. Egyptian women ground the seeds into warm liquid and drank it at the start of their period. In 2014, a clinical trial tested this. 101 women, 900 milligrams of fenugreek seed powder 3 times daily for the first 3 days of menstruation. The result? Significant reduction in pain severity, duration, and need for painkillers. Fenugreek contains compounds that are anti-inflammatory, antispasmodic, and antihistaminic, all targeting the pain-causing substances through different pathways simultaneously. In Egypt today, women still drink hilba, fenugreek tea, during their periods. The seeds are in every Indian grocery store. Same plant, same effect, 3,500 years later. Plant 2. Cannabis. Ancient Egypt, also 1550 BCE. The same Ebers Papyrus records cannabis ground into honey and applied directly to relieve uterine heat and cramping. The same remedy appears in Babylonian medical tablets dated 1700 BCE, prescribed specifically for period pain and low mood. Modern research confirmed that the uterus contains receptors that cannabis compounds fit perfectly, reducing the substances that cause cramping and relaxing uterine muscle. The jaw drop. In the 19th century, Queen Victoria was prescribed cannabis for her menstrual pain by her royal physician, Sir James Russell Reynolds. The same remedy Egyptian women used 3,500 years earlier. Ancient Egyptian women were 3,500 years ahead of the prescription pad. Plant 3. Saffron. Ancient Babylonia, 1700 BCE. One of the most expensive spices in human history, more valuable than gold by weight at various points, prescribed specifically for period pain and low mood. Modern research confirms why. Saffron increases the mood chemical in the brain and simultaneously reduces the substances that cause cramping. Multiple clinical studies confirmed it reduces both physical pain and emotional symptoms.
a pinch of saffron steeped in warm water, the same preparation Babylonian women used 3,700 years earlier. It is sitting in the spice aisle of your supermarket right now.
Title: 20 Forgotten Herbs Women Used for Period Pain, Part 2. Plant 4. Cinnamon. Used across ancient Egypt, China, and Persia for thousands of years for menstrual regulation and pain relief. Women drank it in warm water, used it in food, applied it as a compress. A clinical trial tested cinnamon specifically against period pain. The result? Significant reduction in menstrual bleeding, pain severity, and nausea compared to placebo. Cinnamon increases progesterone levels and reduces the substances that cause cramping. Cinnamon is in your kitchen right now. A teaspoon in warm water during your period, confirmed by clinical trial. Ancient women knew. You just forgot it was medicine. Plant 5. Dong Quai. Ancient China. Over 2,000 years of documented use, called the female ginseng. Its Chinese name, Dongui, literally means state of return, referring to its ability to restore hormonal balance. Chinese women brewed the dried root as tea or took it in herbal formulas throughout their menstrual cycle. It was considered so essential to women's health that traditional Chinese medicine practitioners prescribed it as a matter of course for any woman suffering from menstrual pain or irregularity. Modern research confirmed that Dong Quai targets the compounds that cause uterine muscle to contract and spasm. It has confirmed antispasmodic properties, targeting the exact mechanism of menstrual cramping. Today, Dong Quai is still sold in pharmacies across Asia and available as a supplement worldwide under the name female ginseng. 2,000 years of Chinese women were correct. Plant 6. Raspberry leaf. Used across Europe and the Americas for centuries, called the woman's herb in traditional medicine on both continents independently. Two cultures on opposite sides of the world arrived at the same plant for the same purpose without ever knowing each other existed. Women dried the leaves and brewed them as tea throughout menstruation, drinking several cups a day during their period. Nicholas Culpeper, the 17th century English herbalist, documented raspberry leaf specifically for strengthening and toning the uterus. Modern research identified exactly why it works. Raspberry leaf contains a compound called fragarine, which tones and relaxes uterine muscles, reducing the intensity of spasms. Raspberry leaf tea is sold in most supermarkets today, often marketed for pregnancy. The same leaves, the same effect, available right next to the regular tea bags. Plant 7. Chaste tree. Ancient Mediterranean. The Greeks and Romans used the dried berries of Vitex agnus castus specifically for menstrual disorders. Hippocrates himself referenced it in his writings on women's health. The plant was so strongly associated with women's reproductive health that Roman women placed the leaves in their beds during a religious festival dedicated to female chastity. Modern research revealed the full mechanism. Chaste tree acts directly on the pituitary gland in the brain, reducing prolactin, increasing progesterone, and regulating the entire hormonal cycle. A 2024 Italian study found that 46% of the plants Hippocrates documented for menstrual disorders are still used in Italian folk medicine today. 2,000 years, the same plants. Available as a supplement worldwide under its Latin name, Vitex. Plant 8. Ginger. Ancient China and India. Used for thousands of years across Asia for menstrual pain. Ginger appears in ancient Chinese medical texts dating back over 2,000 years, specifically for warming the uterus and relieving cramping. Indian Ayurvedic practitioners documented it for menstrual disorders with equal consistency. Women brewed fresh ginger root in hot water and drank it throughout their period. In 2009, a clinical trial published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine compared ginger directly to ibuprofen for period pain. Ginger was found to be as effective as ibuprofen in reducing pain severity and duration.
So ginger blocks the same pain-causing substances that ibuprofen blocks through natural compounds called gingerols and shogols.
Plant 9. Turmeric. Ancient India. Over 4,000 years of documented use in Ayurvedic medicine, one of the world's oldest medical systems. Indian women used turmeric in warm milk, in food, in pastes applied to the skin during menstruation. The active compound is curcumin. An Iranian clinical study confirmed that curcumin significantly reduces the pain and duration of menstrual cramps. It works by reducing inflammation at the source, blocking the same pathways that cause cramping. The golden spice sitting in your kitchen spice rack right now, in warm milk with honey, the same preparation Indian women have been using for 4,000 years. Modern science confirms it works. Plant 10. Chamomile. Ancient Egypt and Greece. Chamomile was one of the most sacred plants in ancient Egypt, dedicated to the sun god Ra and used medicinally for thousands of years. Greek physicians prescribed it specifically for menstrual disorders and uterine pain. Women brewed the dried flowers into tea and drank it throughout their period. A 2018 clinical study published in the Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology Research tested chamomile tea specifically for menstrual pain. The result? Significant reduction in pain intensity and emotional distress compared to placebo. Chamomile contains compounds that relax smooth muscle, including uterine muscle, and reduce inflammation. Chamomile tea. In every supermarket, in every kitchen, the same flowers ancient Egyptian women brewed 3,500 years ago. Plant 12. Black cohosh. Native North America. Used for centuries by indigenous women, the Cherokee, the Algonquin, the Iroquois, specifically for menstrual pain, cramps, and uterine disorders. The plant contains a compound called scopoletin, which modern research has confirmed provides menstrual pain relief by relaxing uterine muscle. Black cohosh became so well known for its effectiveness that in 1876 it became the main ingredient of Lydia Pinkham's vegetable compound, the 19th century's most popular period pain medicine, sold across America and Britain. Thousands of years of indigenous women's knowledge, eventually bottled and patented by someone else. Black cohosh is still sold in health food stores today. Plant 13. Motherwort. Ancient China and medieval Europe. Used for centuries across 2 continents independently. In traditional Chinese medicine, motherwort has been used for over 2,000 years specifically for menstrual disorders, called yi mu kao, meaning benefit mother herb. In 17th century Europe, it was documented as a uterine relaxant used specifically to ease menstrual pain. Modern research confirms it contains compounds that relax uterine muscle and reduce spasms. The name itself, motherwort, tells you exactly what it was for. Still used in traditional Chinese medicine today, still available as a supplement in health food stores. Motherwort is particularly interesting because its 2 independent traditions, Chinese and European, arrived at identical conclusions about its effect on the uterus despite having no contact with each other. Chinese practitioners called it the mother herb. European herbalists called it motherwort. Different languages, different continents, same plant, same use, same result. That kind of independent convergence across cultures is not coincidence. It is accumulated human observation arriving at the same truth from opposite ends of the earth.
Plant 14. Lemon balm. In the Middle Ages, lemon balm was cited as a cure-all and was specifically given to women suffering from menstrual pain. Medieval healers documented it repeatedly for uterine cramping and pain. Modern research confirms why it works. Lemon balm contains compounds with antispasmodic properties that relax smooth muscle, including uterine muscle. It also has a calming effect on the nervous system, reducing the anxiety and tension that can make period pain feel worse. Lemon balm tea is sold in most supermarkets today, often in relaxation or sleep blends. The same plant medieval healers prescribed for period pain 1,000 years ago. Plant 15, willow bark. This was used since the time of Hippocrates in ancient Greece for pain. Used across ancient Egypt, China, Mesopotamia, and Europe for thousands of years. Women stripped the bark, brewed it as tea, and drank it for pain relief, including menstrual pain. Willow bark contains a compound called salicin. In 1899, a German chemist synthesized a modified version of salicin and called it aspirin. Ancient women had been drinking the original aspirin for thousands of years before anyone put it in a pill. The same compound, different delivery. Willow bark tea is still available today in health food stores. Ancient women were taking aspirin 2,500 years before aspirin existed. Plant 16, yarrow, also called woundwort, nosebleed plant, thousand leaf. Ancient worldwide. One of the most universally used medicinal plants in human history, found on every continent, used across ancient Europe, Asia, and the Americas for menstrual pain and heavy bleeding. Peppermint and yarrow infusions were specifically recorded in historical texts for menstrual cramps. Yarrow contains compounds that reduce inflammation, relax the uterine muscle, and regulate menstrual flow. The Greek hero Achilles was said to have used yarrow to treat wounds. Its Latin name, Achillea millefolium, comes from this legend. Today, yarrow is available as a tea and supplement in health food stores. One of the oldest medicines on Earth. Archaeologists have found yarrow pollen in Neanderthal burial sites dating back 60,000 years, suggesting humans may have been using this plant medicinally longer than our species has existed in its current form. Whether Neanderthals used it for pain, we cannot know, but its presence in a burial suggests it was valued. Plant 18, wild yam. Not the sweet potato on your dinner plate, a wild relative with very different properties. Used by indigenous women of Mexico and Central America and in traditional Chinese medicine for thousands of years for menstrual pain, cramping, and hormonal balance. Here's the jaw-dropper. Wild yam contains a compound called diosgenin. In the 1950s, scientists extracted diosgenin from wild yams and used it to synthesize the first oral contraceptive pill. The birth control pill that changed the world was built from a plant ancient women had been using for menstrual health for thousands of years before anyone understood why it worked.
Plant 19, valerian. Ancient Greece and Rome. Hippocrates described its use for menstrual disorders. Used across ancient Europe for centuries for menstrual pain and uterine spasms. Women brewed the dried root as tea during their period for cramping relief. A clinical study found it significantly more effective than placebo for period pain. Today, valerian is sold primarily as a sleep supplement. Most people have no idea it was originally used by ancient women for period pain. The ancient use was forgotten. The plant remained. Plant 20, mugwort. Ancient China, Europe, and the Americas. Used in traditional Chinese medicine for over 3,000 years for menstrual pain. The technique of moxibustion, burning dried mugwort near the pelvis, has been used in China for millennia for menstrual disorders. A 2015 clinical study confirmed it was effective for period pain relief. 3 continents, 3,000 years, one plant. Modern science confirmed what 3 ancient civilizations already knew. Conclusion. 20 plants, dozens of civilizations, 3,500 years.
every single one confirmed by modern science. These were not guesses. They were thousands of years of women observing, testing, and passing knowledge to each other, without laboratories, without clinical trials. Woman to woman, generation to generation, across every continent on Earth. Ibuprofen was patented in 1961. The women had solved this 3,500 years earlier. He got a patent. They got nothing. The plants are still there, in your kitchen, in your spice rack, in the tea aisle of your supermarket. Your body is ancient. The medicine that works for it always has been, too. If this video taught you something, share it with a woman in your life. This knowledge was passed woman to woman for 3,500 years. Keep passing it.